Hello, Captains. It's me, TONIK TZW, here in the Tier 7 Premium American Battleship, the Constellation. This one is called Prayers for the Dumb because it is always worse at the weekend. I know that a lot of people play this game casually and they're not quite as I want to say serious, perhaps committed is a better word. They're not quite as committed to the win, and people still think that a high damage score means everything to the outcome of the game. But how wrong could they be? We all know those captains that are a little bit salty and wind beaten know that damage is not everything. It is certainly one measure of having done your work in the game, but the amount of damage you do individually does not necessarily mean you're going to win the game, especially in domination mode. We'll say it again. Caps are king. If you can't take your cap, defend the cap and prevent red team from taking it. And if you're a destroyer, then your three objectives are to spot, capture, and kill. That is to spot the red team, to capture the points, and if the opportunity arises, to kill the red team. Our destroyers aren't going to be quite up to that in this game, and you will see me frantically pinging the map with this Hayat here, who seems to be allergic to capture points, and I believe his entire intention is to sail around the outside of the map and try and torpedo things from the flank, which would be great if he was any good at it. Now that Nebraska there, I can't remember exactly what the range is on the Nebraska's airdrop. Sorry, I had to stifle a sneeze then. Gosh, that nearly blew me away. Lucky I didn't sneeze down the mic. But yeah, there's obviously a destroyer out here because we spotted, yes, I have radar, but what I don't want to do is push into that Nebraska just yet. I want to see if I can get a fire on him and start ticking him for damage. There is the destroyer. That's disappointing because I have just fired my main guns and they're also on the wrong side of the ship. But we do get some hits on the Nebraska, double fire, and he has damage control that, which means that he is going to be ripe for another fire. Our other battleship there has sailed straight into all of the torpedoes that were laid out by the Z-44. He's now going to get battered by the Nebraska. He's going to get battered by, I think it's an Amagi as well. We lose a breast on the left flank. Look at this. We're barely a couple of minutes into the game. Red team have pushed all the way through ACAP. We had 6 ships across there. One of them just sailed straight in and tried to contest. Great job trying to contest. Didn't potentially have to sail into it, but he got clobbered and red team are coming straight through. Our key here is getting absolutely knackered. I'm going to put my torpedoes out here because the Plymouth is pushing. The Plymouth is a bloody good ship, and I decide that I'm going to pop my radar. There's the Z-44. He's definitely in range now, and I am going to try and give him a little bit of a tickle. And the fact that he's lit up on radar, and the fact that the Plymouth is here beside me and is able to mince destroyers, our destroyer decides to chip in with a couple of shots, and I'm wary that the Z-44 has a fast torpedo reload, but we've got the cap, and now the Magi is out there as well. I only had high explosive loaded, but we get a fire on him. Now, I've switched across to armor piercing, but I'm just thinking, the Plymouth only has armor piercing, and here comes an airdrop from the Nebraska, who appears to be backing off a little bit, and I have no doubt that I am going to have to soak some of these torpedoes. But we're going to switch back across to armor piercing, back across to high explosive, because like I said, the Plymouth only has armor piercing. He can keep whittling this guy down, and if I can get a fire on him, because he has already damage controlled, then that is going to account for this Amagi. But look at this, our destroyer decides to chip in with his guns. He's still nowhere near the capture point, but the Amagi secondaries have started firing at him. But we get rid of him. The Plymouth gets the kill. I get my second assist of the game. And now we have opened this flank. And I'm thinking we're going to have to push this flank hard. So what we need this destroyer to do is to actually use his speed and get out in front of us. But given that the Plymouth would probably not take a full salvo from the Nebraska, I decide that even though I'm in a battleship, it is going to be my responsibility to try and spot this Nebraska. I'm going to have to try and soak some damage because that is what battleships can do. They have a huge hit point pool and they can afford to soak damage. We don't get a fire on that one, but the Plymouth is already chipping in as well. So we're going to go again on the Nebraska. Are we going to get a fire this time? We can see his planes coming in. Still no fire. We're going to slam on the brakes, turn into this one, and I think then we're going to gun the engines and try and out-turn these torpedoes. There is the fire that we've been waiting for, and he has immediately damage controlled it again. I don't know what's going on, sir. On the left side of the minimap, red team are absolutely steaming it. They did have a split out there, but it looks like they've managed to account for that one. But they're all still running. They're running like cool runnings. But this Nebraska is getting absolutely pounded by the Plymouth and goes out of the game. This Plymouth player, absolute legend, absolute legend. Knew exactly what to do to play his ship. When he popped his smoke screen, um, I knew that basically he was relying on me for spotting because our Hayate was parked behind the island. But now we've got the Marlborough coming back because he know this flank has collapsed and he's going to come round. And I'm going to make probably one of the riskiest moves I've made all weekend. And I have made a few, and some have come off and some haven't. But there we go. The Marlborough puts his shots onto the Plymouth, but I'm the one that takes a few of the hits. And I'm looking, we've got a Kuchesov as well. And I'm thinking, who's got him spotted? It must be the destroyer on the left side of the minimap because he would be out of line of sight for me, and I'm just about to get ready to try and drop a hammer on this guy, and he disappears. And then we've got the Marlborough. What the hell is the gun sight doing? I'm looking straight at him. It doesn't lock onto him, so we're going to put a shot onto that Kuchesov there. We're going to switch to our torpedoes, and it still locks the Kuchesov. We know we're going to take a hit off this Marlborough now. There we go, bang. Big HE damage there. But we've got a damage control, we've got a heal. That's going to run for a little while, and I'm going to try and do whatever I can to get turned. I've already locked my turrets to the right side of my ship. We get a torpedo hit and a flood. We've got another rack of torpedoes. This is absolutely risking it for a biscuit returning. And I think, how the hell did he miss me from that close? That is absolutely ridiculous. But I did hear torpedoes firing behind me, and I realized that the Hayate had actually caught up and then only went and got himself spotted and killed by coming that close to the battleship. What on earth was he thinking? My engines are slammed in full reverse because we fought for this capture point, so we want to take it as well. The Kuchesov is kiting away from the other side of the map. We pop our spotter plane there to give us a little bit of accuracy on those shots. And yeah, we don't really do a lot there, do we? We get 2 hits and 1 over penetration out of, I think it's 4 turrets. So 3 out of 4 ain't bad. It's a little bit better than Meatloaf's 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And now he seems to be wanting to come towards the capture point, but he's not going to make it. He's hard spotted. he's wriggling around. We have the capture point. I'm going to put a full send out there as well. That's obviously going to get us spotted, and he is going to continue his turn out, which means that we're practically going to get nothing off him. So out of 8 shells, we managed to land one, and then he pops his smoke screen to hide. Obviously, thinking that I might be within my smoke fire penalty range, but I'm not. So we blind fire the smoke screen. The destroyer across there on the left has finally managed to find forward gear after kiting round in circles back there. Um, there is still a battleship back there as well, and I don't know which one that is, but he's still parked in our home cap. The game is practically over, and I know he started probably 2 grid squares to his left, and they did get hard pushed, but he hasn't really gone very far, has he, at all? I'm on just under 115,000 damage. I've got 1 kill and I've got 2 assists, but we've also got 2 cap assists. And a battleship taking caps while a destroyer is hiding behind an island is not something I like to see in this game. But we ripple fire the turrets out there to try and get a tickle on the Kuchasov as he's kiting away. We get what's that? 1 hit. We break the 115. We finish on 116, but the Plymouth gets the kill. So just under 117,000 damage actually, but that's what happens when you push and support each other in a game. I certainly don't mind finishing second to the Plymouth. I actually feel a little bit bad for killing the battleship because he could have had himself a Kraken and a much better game. But it was an embarrassing failure for that Marlborough to take 2 sets of torpedoes and for me to get turned completely 180 degrees in front of him. So if you enjoyed that one, give me a little bit more luck by smashing that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. You can donate through the super thanks. And as always, until next time, take care of yourselves and goodbye.